Work's on, work's off. Time to get to work. Okay, so if you didn't look at Lab 7, there's a video for that. Otherwise, I'm going to erase that, but definitely if you haven't watched that, you probably should. We're having a lot of user malfunction issues with calculators, so let's make sure that you do that. Also, I asked you to go ahead and change the mode. Put the stat diagnostic and the stat wizards on, please, please, or else this won't work today. You'll be like, I can't find it, and my calculator doesn't tell me the right answer. Listen. Let's talk about scatter plots today. Scatter plot uses two lists of data. Typically, we put list one as all our x values. In your lab, that was the years, and then list two is usually all of our y values. And what your calculator does is it pairs the first element in your x list and the first element in your y list and pairs them up and makes them a point, a box or a little dot or a plus sign or whatever that is. And it'll take all the things, as long as everything in your first list and your second list are one-to-one correspondence. There's a match. There's the same number of things in each list. It will go ahead and plot all those dots out for you. And what you do at that point is you look at the array of dots and you decide whether or not there is some type of linear relationship between the two of these things. That is, does it look like I could draw a line through that data that fairly accurately describes or predicts the behavior of these two variables? How do they relate to one another? As list one gets bigger, does list two get bigger at the same kind of rate? Does it have like a common slope, or is it curvy? Okay, so we have lots of things that don't fit, but in general, we're looking for the dots scattered all over the place, kind of moving in the same direction. They don't have to go up either. You can have dots that are trending downward, and that would be as the x values are increasing in your first list, do the y values decrease. That is also a very strong relationship, and the book mentions several situations where that kind of thing might be the case. If you plotted out your age and your shoe size growing up, I'm sure it looks something like this, okay? Or your vocabulary reading level hopefully was going up in a fairly linear type of way. Or, let's see, I don't know, something that could be like as x increases, y decreases. As the amount of time spent on math increases, the number of pretzels that are left in the bag because you just keep eating them while you're doing your work, which is actually a good idea. So you always need two variables. You need two lists to work with, x and a y. Oftentimes the x list, the first one, involves some type of time interval going by, and that's something that goes from 0 on. And so it's really easy to pair that up with something else like distance, or the number of things getting done, like math lessons. Hopefully yours goes somewhat linearly and not like this, which I expect that may be the case for some of you. Hopefully, though, it looks more like this, that you kind of gradually getting things done and you'll get to the finish line at some point. We can model it out and say that, well, this is a consistent person. Like they know how to kind of take this little bits at a time and not try to do it all at once. Okay, learning happens better this way anyway. I want to go over this little picture here really quickly, and then I'll go to the other camera and work some stuff out on the calculator. I want to make sure that you understand a couple of things about what the numbers that come out of your calculator actually mean, so that you don't just say, well, I gave me a 0.9, and so I wrote that down, but I don't know what that means. I want you to kind of know where that comes from. Again, just like the line of best fit, the regression line or that correlation coefficient, they use the letter R on your calculator and in statistics. All right, I'll say that again. It's called the correlation coefficient. And here's the word that really matters is correlation. That's the coming together of seeing how two things are related to each other. Do they correlate? Is one thing connected to the other in some meaningful way? Okay, and the stats world uses the lowercase r. Doesn't mean radius here, it means correlation coefficient. It uses this number to represent the strength of that relationship between one of your lists and the other. Is it linear? Is it a straight line, or is it not very well defined? So you got this scale, the correlation coefficient. Can you see that down there? It varies between -1 and 1. It can be -1, it could be 1, it could be anywhere in between. My little scale here is it's not a number line, okay? It's a strength scale. If you're right here in the middle at 0, then there's no relationship between your X list and your Y list, at least linearly. It does not make a line, like a straight line. It might be curved, it might make a parabola, but it does not make a straight line. And so the closer you get to 0 on either side of that tells you that you do not really have a correlation between time and distance, or time and pretzels, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so then the further you move this way in the positive direction, it tells you that there is a better and better straight line that's sloping upward kind of relationship. The positive, all it means to have a positive answer for R is that the slope goes up. It doesn't tell you, the number doesn't tell you how steep that slope is. This is not M, okay? This is not slope. This just tells you how strong the relationship is. But if it's plus, all that means is that it slopes up. And if it's negative, all that means is that it slopes down. It does not tell you how much it slopes up or how much it slopes down. Something could have a very strong positive relationship and have a very, very weak slope, a very small slope, like a 1/8 x type of slope, but have a very, very strong value for R. So anything that's over here on the positive side is a positive relationship between these two things that slopes up, and anything over here on this side is negative. If you're closer to 0, that relationship is weaker, and it gets stronger the further that gets to 1, but 1 is the biggest that number will ever get, and you'll never have an R of 2. The biggest R you'll get is a 1, which means you have a perfect relationship between the two, perfect correlation between those two stats. And so I've given you some pictures here. Maybe you can't really see that too well. I got some dots that kind of, in general, they're kind of blobby, but more or less they go up as you go from left to right. And over here, it's like really, really close to being on a line, and so you get something closer to a 1. On this side, it's kind of blobby, but it's going down, and this one is going down very, very well. All those dots are in a line going down, so you have a very good, strong, negative relationship. So when we say a negative relationship, don't think like that's bad. It just means that it slopes down at some point there. And when we say strong, don't think that that necessarily means it's good. It's just telling you that it's sloping up. And the further we get to 1 on either side, 1 or -1, the stronger that relationship gets. Okay, that's what R is. One more thing to say about correlation is correlation does not mean causation. It does not mean that one list, one set of data causes the other one to behave in a certain way. For instance, it's been shown that there is a very strong correlation between shoe size and reading abilities. Okay, figure that one out. When you're a kid, you can't read very well, and when you get older, you can. But it's not like if your feet grow, that's going to help your reading skills. It doesn't work like that. So you have to be careful about it. If you get a good answer, it might not mean that one thing caused the other thing. It just means that in some way they're related, and maybe that's what you need to figure out. Okay, I'm going to go over to my calculator and show you some stuff on there. Actually, show you some stuff from the lab, what it ought to look like, and we'll talk about a manual fit, some kind of like a line, what do they call it in the book, matching situations, trend lines. Talk about that I really don't care about that, and finish this sucker up. Okay, Oliver and Pepe are going to help us with this today. Aren't they so cute? All they do is eat and poop all day long. Okay, so I put in the stats that you're supposed to have from that last question. There was my lists, and so I went to my stat plot and made sure everything was good, and did the Zoom 9 business on there, and so that's what my dots look like. And that is a fairly positive. It is positive because it's sloping up, and it looks like it's pretty good. R value. So I'm going to double check on that. And what you do is you go to stat and you're going to calculate that linear regression for those two lists. I'm going to ask it to store that regression equation in list 1. Oh man, it doesn't want to. Something's already in there, I guess. Let's see if it'll let me do it this way. Oh yeah. Okay, we calculate it, and this time we see the A and the B, but we also see that R down there, and that's the R all by itself is the one we care about. 0.9599 is pretty close to 1, so that's a very strong positive relationship between the two of them. And now, when we go in here, it has been plunked into Y1, and I can hit graph again, and that line gets drawn more or less through my points. Really, for me, that equation is what I really care about. That is the line of best fit. You can find a line that's pretty good, but you're not going to find one any better than that one, guaranteed. The calculator does have a way to get an estimate. If you go over to stat and calculate, and then you scroll all the way down to the very, very bottom of the list, it has this thing here that's called manual fit. And I guess you can fiddle around with that if you're interested. When you go and you hit that, manual fit, then it gives you this thing, and you can kind of put a starting point and an ending point. Put one down here somewhere, and then it actually starts to draw a line. And this is where if there wasn't a line of best fit, you could put in one and take a guess. I think it's kind of dumb because the line of best fit's always better. Okay, and at that point you were like, that doesn't look quite right. It puts a highlighter up there, and you can type in 3.7, and it'll adjust that for you. And it'll also adjust the intercept. You say maybe 8 would be better. And it does that too. So now when you press y equals, I don't know if it was done. It'll graph the line of best fit. And you can have it put in, it just actually has my my other one. It doesn't have my line of best fit anymore. It put in my stupid one. So let me go in and ask it one more time for that. And I'm going to ask it to put it into Y2, calculate it, and there it's in there again. And we'll print both of them. You can compare them, but the line of best fit is always the best line of fit. Okay? There's a couple things where it says, please think about this situation and what that would mean, like time spent driving and distance traveled. You need to put your thinking cap on about the distribution dots, what that could look like. But pretty much, I want you to use that R value to analyze the strength or weakness of the relationship between those two lists. Closer to 1 is better. Positive means it slopes up. Negative means it slopes down. It doesn't mean that it slopes way up or way down. It just means that it slopes up or down. And then the number tells you the strength of that relationship based off of a statistical formula. That's it. Let the calculator do the hard work, and you just copy down in your homework what that looks like. We'll see you in the next episode.